Can you hear me?
I can.
Awesome.
How you doing?
Good. How are you, man?
Good.
Everything going well?
Yeah, it's been a busy week for me with a lot of this Tech Fluent stuff wrapping up. So the evenings are packed with those capstone reviews and just catching up on this new position. So it's been
Yeah, man.
kind of just with starting late September, early October, going right to Summit. Had some vacations, then traveling a bit, and then holidays. It feels like this is the first kind of moment of getting my
Being able to take a deep breath and just
getting my head around it all. Yeah.
No, I felt that way as well. I took some time off as well, and then went straight to NRF. I came back. I have all these RFPs. I had RFPs I was starting right before Christmas, so. Hey everyone, my name is Quintin Hunkin. I'm a technical specialist here at Microsoft, focused on Dynamics 365. What a technical specialist is essentially a sales engineer. I'm the technical mind behind the pre-sales related conversations that we have with customers. So whenever a customer issues an RFP or a customer comes with business requirements, I'm the guy who usually does the discovery, takes those requirements, maps it to our software, and then does the demo. So happy to be here today with Bobby Small. Ever since I joined Microsoft and gotten into the Dynamics community, community is really something that is more tight-knit here than it is at other ERP vendors, other technology companies. It's so crazy to me how small the Dynamics community is and how everybody knows each other. You go to DynamicsCon and it's like, I know this person from there, I know that person from there, and I know this person. And I feel like, I've been in now the space for about three and a half years. And I feel like I almost know everybody now, or at least
it comes quickly, right?
Which is just crazy, and it's awesome to see DynamicsCon how it's grown from however many. I think you had 400 or 500 people 3 years ago. That's grown to 2,000 as of last year. So just incredible. And not only that, the Dynamics user groups you have in each of the cities. I'm an avid attender of the Dallas one. So.
Yeah, I haven't been to Dallas in a while. I love that user group. I think I went to my first one. It might have been the one where I met you. You were speaking. Yeah. And the folks from HEB were there speaking.
Yep.
And it was a great event. And I got to know Elif more and Bo. And so it was like,
I know.
I attended, I think like Rapid Fire was like a 3 or 4 events in Dallas. Where were you before Microsoft?
I was at a company called Cognizant. So you've probably heard of Cognizant, big technology firm. I specifically focused on SAP S/4HANA. So I was more aligned to life sciences industry and the regulations that go along with that. So I was an order to cash consultant there, or wore multiple hats, more on the post-sales side. So I took a big leap coming to the pre-sale side, jumping into a new ERP, new technology, and it's been fantastic. Yeah.
It's fun. I mean, I'd never done sales before, and I wouldn't say I was in sales either. I was more pre-sales, with Ellipse when I was there. Mm-hmm. But it's something I'd never done before. So I've always been a technical. In my current IT career, I've always been technical developer, IT director. Leading an ERP. Administrating that. So sales was never a thing. So it was kind of fun to learn a new side of things. And
I had to learn, being a technical guy, I had to learn that, hey, I don't have to show them all the details and the configuration, because I needed to know, when I was training the software, I need to know enough to sell it and enough to
show and whet their appetites.
Exactly. Yeah. It's not going field by field. It's creating a story and incorporating personas and finding out what's important to that customer. Right?
No, and like the guys I worked with, they, early on would say they would be, not that I think I do a pretty good job just naturally trying not to be too technical.
Yep.
Just because working at an end user organization where I had to be able to talk to folks on the production line all the way up to the C-suite, I kind of learned to how to filter down some of the tech talk out. But there is like you said, there's a level at which you just got to stop talking and not, over talk and all those things that you learn in that process of showing somebody an ERP system and helping them to make that right decision. Because at the end of the day, that's what I love to say when people say, well, I hate sales. If you're presenting something that you love and you believe in, it's not even sales. You're just showing them this cool software that you believe in.
Yeah.
And then it's easy. And you're asking them the right questions that help to show them the answers that are solved by this ERP or this, commerce or this, Power Platform, whatever it is they're looking for. So it's less sales and more relationship and understanding what they want.
Always helps when you love what you do, man. I always knew from when I was a little kid on my parents' desktop that I was going to do something with computers,
That's awesome.
I just didn't know, when it would be. And it was always a dream for me to, hey, work for a company like Microsoft, and to see where Microsoft has come, over the last 20 years has just been crazy. My main focus is Dynamics 365 Commerce, but also, of course, Dynamics 365 Finance and Supply Chain Management.
Right on.
I come from a supply chain background, know a lot about supply chain, and I've also dabbled a lot in our human resources project. So pretty much all of the modules that are in our ERP plus commerce and the sales channels.
I was impressed. One of the Tech Fluent cohorts, her capstone was focused on HR and finance, which is, it was fun. I was like, you don't typically see that, but that was great. That was like, good on you for choosing that module to focus on.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah. Our HR, it doesn't quite compare to the Workdays of the world, but it's getting there, and
it's getting there. It's coming back. Yeah.
And it's, that's the main differentiator, is that it's integrated right with the rest of our ERP, the finance components, the supply chain components, the commerce.
There's a huge benefit to that integration. So, it kind of like overcomes some of the other pitfalls that you can work around with some of the other applications even.
Absolutely.
But commerce was something I started at too. So when I was at Ellipse, my focus, Ellipse had a couple different verticals they were working through, public sector and manufacturing, specifically to like paper plastic packaging, and commerce was one of them. And so I was really focused on learning D365 commerce and how it fit in. Where is it right now? Like it's still pretty quiet, it seems, but I'm not as in tune to it. No, I'd love to hear more about where it is.
Hundreds of customers live. We are continuing to make vast investments in the product. So, when you think about commerce, people are always like, what is Dynamics 365 commerce? Is it e-commerce? Is it point of sale? Is it?
I like the term headless commerce. Yeah. Like, it's always scary. It's like, what crap is headless commerce? And why do I need to know that?
Is it the back end components? Is it the integration layer that we call our headless commerce engine? So in short, it's really all of those things. What Dynamics 365 commerce is it's essentially a platform that has different sales channels, but it also has a headless commerce engine that has a native integration with the ERP. And then there's also components of Dynamics 365 Commerce that live in a module within the ERP called Retail and Commerce. So essentially, you can choose to enable the e-commerce components, so that sales channel. You can choose to enable the POS components, that channel. Or what you can also just enable is just the headless commerce aspect. What headless commerce means is it's essentially an API-driven engine with its own set of APIs, where if you want to choose to connect those to the different sales channels you have, you can. But headless means that it can connect to essentially any sort of sales channel or head. So if you have your own e-commerce, but you want to use our headless commerce engine to integrate with our ERP, you can do that. You can bring in a Magento and integrate with that, or you can bring in an NCR POS and integrate with that and utilize the APIs to enable the seamless integration and orchestration of bidirectional flow, Dave.
That's good. I know when I first started, and it's been we're coming up on 5 years since I started at Ellipse, so probably a year or so after that when I started really looking at commerce. I don't think there were many folks live at that point. It was still were still, on the grind to, to get that adoption going on the product. So it's good to hear that that's increased and that's really, starting to fly.
Yeah, there's a ton of customers live, and that's across multiple industries. It's not just retail and consumer goods. It's manufacturing. It's, odd sort of industries that you wouldn't think of as well. Like one of our biggest e-commerce customers is the Church of Jesus Christ. And they have, hundreds of thousands of SKUs and many channels that they sell from. So we really have a wide spread of different customers. And now our main focus from a D365 commerce perspective, from a product team perspective, is investing, of course, in AI, but mostly investing in our point of sale channel, as well as our B2B e-commerce channel. So we're constantly seeing manufacturers, we're constantly seeing consumer goods organizations need a portal that they need to stand up from a B2B perspective. A lot of them have these custom portals where the onboarding process is wonky. It is not connected to the ERP, the whole credit checks of the customers and credit limits, all of that isn't integrated correctly. The main differentiator with us is we have this B2B e-commerce channel that seamlessly integrates with your ERP.
The integration again is big. It's it's huge in all areas, but in commerce in particular, again, thinking back to some of the Yammer groups I was in on as they were like, probably talking about stuff that's already integrated now.
Yeah.
But just the ease of building product catalogs. Like you mentioned, you got a B2B business or a business where you're selling product and you've got multiple channels, multiple vendors that are buying from you. You're setting up multiple product catalogs, with different, variations, and you can do all that in your ERP, but then seamlessly get them up to your commerce piece. And so it's just that ease of use.
Absolutely. And, just as you said, catalogs for customers is one of our big features there. And also things like setting up trade agreements or sales agreements. Obviously, somebody wants to buy a certain quantity commitment of a product and get a special price for it. Those same trade and sales agreements you set up in the ERP are going to ring true when you're on that B2B e-commerce site with the login that it has for the customer. So, very nice.
And then you add that Dataverse layer in, and where the data is stored, and the dual write capabilities, which are bringing the data back and forth from commerce to F&O to your ERP system.
So that's another neat feature. Sorry about that. Another neat feature that it has, whenever you have that onboarding. So let's say you hop onto somebody's B2B e-commerce site and you want to sign up to become a business partner. That whole sign up process, what happens when they click sign up, they say they're a part of this organization. What happens in the back end is there's a data sync from that headless commerce engine that syncs that data into the ERP. It can either generate a prospect in the ERP, which can then be converted into a customer, and you get established a credit limit for that customer, and then they can log into the website. Or to your point, with our native integration with our CRM, that can also generate a lead in the CRM, which can then be generated to an opportunity and then a customer. Then you can have that unified customer record of having that customer contact record in your CRM can be the same thing that you have as a customer record in your ERP. That bi-directional flow of data through that dual write processes is another.
Again, it's just fast because it's near storage, in your data lakes, your Dataverse. It's you're getting that really quick data exchange as opposed to it maybe exports, imports, APIs that are pulling data back and forth that aren't going to be as efficient.
Absolutely.
So how was NRF? I've never been to NRF. I'd love to go at some point. I'm sure it feels like it's crazy, just like wild. It's so big.
So big. It's at the Javits Center in New York City. So I've been so many.
And it's always there, right?
It's been there for the last 20 years, I think. 30 years ago, it was somewhere else, and then they built the Javits Center and they moved it there. That's at least what I heard from the veterans that have been going for a while.
The old Grizzly veterans that are, holding court in the corner, talking about the first NRF.
Yeah, but it was actually my first time at NRF as well, and it was actually my first time in New York City. So
wow, ever in New York City?
Yeah, I've been a lot of places in the world. Had never been to New York City. I have so many friends there as well. So I actually came in a little bit early. I saw some friends that live in Manhattan. They showed me around the city, so I at least got to see the city a little bit. And then Sunday, Monday, Tuesday was just conference all day. So
Yeah. And did you stay at the Microsoft booth the whole time, or
yeah,
were you floating
so
around?
I actually had booth duty. So the Dynamics 365 Commerce team sort of tapped me to do booth duty on two different booths. One of them was the AI personalized shopping agent that we just released.
Hmm?
There's a company called Venki. They're a chocolatier. They just went live with this actually a couple weeks ago, but I'll talk a little bit about that feature and I'll talk about the trends that you just asked about. And then the other
Yeah.
booth that I ran was for supply chain autonomous agent. So I was
Cool.
on at the booth working on Sunday. I had a couple shifts. I had a shift on Monday, and then I had the latter end shift, the afternoon shift on Tuesday. So
Wow.
it
Yeah.
was only half of the day I had these shifts. So you either have the morning shift or the afternoon shift, and then through that other time, at NRF's really cool where you think that Microsoft has a booth and all they're doing is showing demos. Half of our booth is also meeting rooms to meet with customers. So
Oh, cool.
a lot of my retail sellers would reach out to me and say, "Hey, could you meet with these different customers?" And I spent half of my time meeting with those customers. Hey, can you hear me?
Hey, can you hear me? Hey, can you hear me?
5 minutes later.
You made it back.
Computer died, or was that me?
I don't know. It's weird. Yeah.
No worries. You
Um,
can do some nice editing.
yeah. I'll do some editing there and
I
whatever.
think you got on me, and then I said, "Looks like you connected, Bobby. I'll wait." And I've just been sitting here patiently. So
That's funny.
yeah,
You were talking about
the
starting to talk about the chocolatier. I think is when we kind of dropped off.
yeah, yeah. So I think we were dropping off. I was telling you that I sort of manned or had shifts for two of the different booths at the
Yep.
Microsoft or two of the different demo stations at the Microsoft booth. So I was also explaining sort of the landscape of the Microsoft booth. So I didn't realize that Microsoft, we spend the most money and have the biggest booth at NRF. So that's a
Wow.
nice fact there. And half of the booth was like 13 to 15 demo stations showing the latest and greatest in AI across our different products. And then the other half of the booth is actually meeting rooms. And we actually
Yeah.
had a two floor booth where we had stairs where there's meeting rooms
Wow.
upstairs, there's meeting rooms down here. So half of my time, you're asking me how I was spending my time, was manning the booth. The other half of my time, I was meeting with customers. I had
Cool.
retail sellers that I help, and they reached out to me and said, "Hey, my customer's going to be there. I can't be there. Can you meet with them?" So I spent a lot of time meeting with customers, and then any other free time I had, I was just exploring the latest and greatest and the coolest trends in retail and AI. So
That's awesome. I know when I was looking at commerce, people were still like throwing at me, well, I'm still on, Shopify and, kind of in some weird ways, I feel like, my talking points were to really focus on the enterprise level nature, kind of the things we were talking about before,
yeah,
the integrations and the enterprise level nature of a commerce piece like Microsoft as opposed to a Shopify or
no,
I assume those folks are at NRF too, the Shopifys of
yeah,
the world. Yeah.
Shopify's was there. All of the biggest competitors were there. It was interesting for me, actually walking the floor and at NRF and Javits Center. You have, 4 or 5 floors.
Yeah.
Everybody's on different floors, and who has the biggest booths? But it was us. Microsoft has one of the biggest booths. SAP has one of the biggest booths. Oracle has one of the biggest booths.
Hmm.
Google has a pretty big booth as well. NVIDIA had a pretty big booth. Adyen had a pretty big booth, the payment processor. So
Yeah.
pretty interesting to just see all the latest and greatest and
Yeah.
what the coolest trends are in NRF today, and where all these retailers and where these innovators think we're going, in 2025 and in years beyond. Right.
So share well, first of all, if you want to talk, you piqued my interest. What is the AI, you said, AI personal shopper?
Yeah, so the AI personal shopping agent, it's something that we're going to actually release. It'll probably, it's in public preview right now, with Venki being one of our first customers going live with it. And it'll probably GA sometime in April or beyond.
Okay.
That's my guess right now. Obviously, no definite timelines there, but
Always.
what it is within our point of sale, right? The whole demo scenario was, hey, there's the store manager. He's on the POS screen for Dynamics 365 Commerce, and he's just finished up an order, right? And he gets a notification, and you get this little notification that, hey, a certain customer has just walked in the store. And a lot of the people, as I'm giving the demos, how do you know that this customer has walked in the store? So it's
Right.
Either they've checked in at the front of the store, they can check in via the mobile app, or there's even technology out there today that can actually do facial recognition scans and recognize that customer. One of the biggest things about that is, customers would then ask, oh, where are you getting consent to record this person or to scan their face? And it really comes down to, whenever you walk into the store and it says recordings in process and you're in a store, that's the consent that, that you're getting. But essentially the demo, the way the personalized shopping agent works is, hey, you just get notified somebody has just walked in the store. You can open up an iframe of their customer insights profile, another one of our Dynamics products in the point of sale. And then you can begin to provide a personalized experience for that shopper. So you're looking at their customer insights profile. You can see, hey, they just purchased, these milk chocolate bars a couple of weeks ago. So Copilot's going to suggest, hey, how did you like those milk chocolate bars? Or, what are you coming in for today? And what you can then do is listen to that customer, and they say, hey, I like the milk chocolate bars, but I'm really more of a dark chocolate person, where AI can listen and gather those insights and actually put that in the customer insights profile. And then as you go through this process, essentially, and you ask Amanda, which was our persona, what are you looking for today? Amanda says, hey, I'm looking for an anniversary gift box. And as you say, what are you looking for, Amanda? You can have the Copilot listen from the point of sale to what they're looking for. The Copilot can hear the words anniversary gift box as keywords. And then what that does is it automatically sifts through the product catalog and only shows products that are as part of an anniversary gift box. And then there's Copilot suggestions for the sales associate, like, hey, you might want to ask about any dietary restrictions or flavor preferences. And it gives you options. So are you gluten-free? Do you require low sugar? And then as the Amanda or our persona begins to tell us this stuff, it sifts down the product catalog, filters the product catalog to find what she's looking for. So essentially in the demo, Amanda said, oh, my husband's gluten-free and he loves pistachio. So that sifts it down to only 3 options when there was originally 20 or originally 30. And then you could provide that personalized experience where, okay, along with this, would you like any gift wrapping? Is your husband classy? Is he festive? Is he funny? Oh, my husband's bougie. Get him the classy wrap, right? So all of these Copilot features are suggesting to the customer, hey, or suggesting to the sales associate to ask the customer certain things, and then sifts down the product catalog. And then the end of the demo sort of wraps up with, hey, now you've added the chocolate, the gift wrap in the back, to the point of sale. And Copilot can actually look at their profile to say, hey, they're actually only 50 points away from going from silver loyalty tier to gold tier. And that, hey, she said she didn't like milk chocolate before, so why don't you just suggest a 7-ounce dark chocolate bar to get her over the line into that gold tier, and so she can get 10% off her total order. So kind of a neat feature there. I know I just talked a lot.
No, it's fascinating. I mean, I can't imagine, like you said, it opens up a lot of cool opportunity.
Yeah.
There's probably a lot of people that are like you mentioned kind of early in the beginning of people are like, how are you doing this? It's freaking some people out.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, how does Quintin even know I like dark chocolate? What's going on here? It's like he's some kind of like evil genius or whatever.
Wizard.
So I think people, get that too. But I think what's really neat is like the onboarding process. And I've been watching this space, and in public sector, they had some really great case studies on, bringing people in that were, hey, Quintin was working a case for 2 years with this family, and he had to leave. And so now Bobby has to come in and take over, instead of it taking me
the knowledge transfer
months and months to get caught up and to understand. I can get a quick synopsis of that entire 2-year case history using AI and Copilot.
Yeah.
And then I can make a phone call to talk to that family immediately, as opposed to, wasted time, which is important. So the same thing, somebody coming in to a job at the chocolate company or wherever can onboard so much faster. They don't need to know the entire inventory to make a positive suggestion. They can quickly be a part of the process and feel productive in that moment, in that transaction, and that interaction. And then they'll grow to learn it faster too. But at least they've got this kind of tool that they can use. You gave me a little bit of a nightmare too. I started like early on. One of my first jobs was a shoe salesman.
Oh, wow.
In retail. Yeah. This is high school level, stuff. But as at that company at that time, I had to do about everything you said, but with no Copilot. Like, I would come in and you would say, "Hey, I'm here to look at some shoes." I'd be like, "Cool." Now, I may or may not remember you. if my brain helps, if I get a good Copilot, I'm 18, 19, my brain was probably pretty good. I might say, "I remember you. You bought some tennis shoes last time. Are you looking to replace those?" Mm-hmm. So I'm using my own internal Copilot to do some of that stuff, but I can't always rely on that.
Now you
then all the secondary stuff.
Data to back everything. Data is the biggest commodity in today's day and world.
Because we were required to, if you said, "Hey, I want some tennis shoes," I would go back and I'd have to look and say, "Well, I'm going to bring you not only tennis shoes, but also a pair of dress shoes and a pair of casual shoes." And I come back out and say, "Hey, while you're looking, we had these in your size too. I thought you might like them." Kind of similar, you
had no digital interface to just say, "Hey, here, do you like these? Do you like these?" You had to go to the back of the store, come back, go to the back of the store, come back.
Right, and maybe you benefit from knowing, and that Quintin never wears casual shoes. He only wears dress shoes. So Don't even you're wasting your time bringing these out potentially, or maybe it's irritating to keep bringing them out. So that kind of information. I wondered, when you're saying, you also put in Copilot, every time Quintin comes in and I ask him something, he tells me to buzz off. So now the next person that comes in is like, "Oh, let him shop. He's cool. He doesn't need Copilot."
Or it creates a profile on that person, don't agitate them.
They're good. They're good customers, but they like to shop on their own. So just let them be.
So but back to what I saw as the highlights or the trends in NRF. It really, probably the biggest trend was AI agents. AI agents, I feel like 2025 is the year of the AI agent, having shopping assistants embedded with artificial intelligence in the heart of your shopping experience, right?
Yeah.
Providing those personalized recommendations, streamlining your decision making, and, even handling things from a supply chain perspective, like auto replenishment, right? That was probably the biggest thing. Every single booth I went to, you see the word AI, you see the word agents, in every single booth. It's like everybody's cannibalizing that word right now. Agents.
Agentic was another word I just saw. I've seen a couple of times. Agentic.
Yeah.
An agentic response or an agentic, tilt or something. Yeah.
Absolutely. So that, another big thing that's been pretty big over the last couple of years is social or live shopping. So a lot of these influencers and live streaming and social streaming, whenever you're trying to buy a product on Amazon, I don't know if you're like me. I go to YouTube, I look up that product, and I watch some influencer talk about that product, what they like about the product, what they don't like about the product. And that's become a huge thing in the retail industry. And if you're in social media, you probably see, product ads all the time from a social selling perspective. And this influencer is into this item, blah, blah, blah. And then the last probably biggest trend was just more of reimagining that physical retail store, right? So, not only the traditional, brick and mortar store, but having the ability to have pop-up shops or interactive environments, because everybody loves to shop online today. It's convenient. Yeah. You order something, it's on your door at the next day. How can we get people back into brick and mortar stores? And that's been a challenge since COVID, right?
Even when you're in brick and mortar, how often do you go to a place that hasn't?
You didn't even ask them anything, right?
Yeah, you walk in. You're at we have King Super here. It might be a Kroger or a City Market where you are, but
Contactless shopping, is that what you're referring to?
No, they have the in-store Starbucks. You can walk up and order a Starbucks, but you don't. You go on your app and order it while you're shopping, and then go pick it up. So you're not even you're at the brick and mortar, but you're not even really using the brick and mortar.
And that's, I think, a challenge that a lot of retailers are having right now. And I think that they're having to find ways to reimagine that retail experience, right? Like when you walk into a store to buy shoes, having other sort of things around, or having some sort of AI feature to dress you in other clothes or dress you in the shoes, or something to make it just more innovative and give you a reason to want to go into the store. And I think that's the hurdle that a lot of these companies are trying to get over, and something that I see a lot with retailers happening today, and something I saw.
It is interesting. I mean, it feels like everywhere I go, you have to have an app, or it's better to have an app. Like if I'm at a grocery store, having the app, I can scan things. That you have to scan coupons now to get the actual digital coupons. So you've got the app open, but maybe it's good too if the app, if you're buying into it and leaning into the technology. I go in and it says, hey, every time you've shopped with us, every week you buy milk.
Yep.
Don't forget your milk, whatever, or build me the grocery list so I don't forget. Like I just walk in, it's like, hey, 9 times out of 10, you always buy some type of power bar. We've got these on sale. Let me load these coupons for you. So making smarter decisions to maybe help you, and get through that process a little faster and easier.
And what I think a lot of retailers are finding with consumers is they don't want to have that personalized experience necessarily, even with a human. like you said, they would rather interact with a screen that says, hey, you bought this last time, or when they're checking out, rather than waiting in a big line, going through contactless, checkout. And there's a lot of cool retailers today. And I don't know if you've been to Zara lately, but they've been really showcasing these new contactless checkout sort of cash, like tills that they have. So it's like a terminal where you can literally grab the clothes that you want, you drop it into a box, and you don't even have to scan it, and it knows every single item that's in that box and exactly what you have. And you don't even have to go through scanning it through self-checkout anymore. So
at least my local library is like that. If you check out books, you can put a pile of books on top, and it just uses the RFID tag, and it just sees them all and loads them in and says, "Are these?" And you click the button, you're done. So you just got to sit them on a thing, and then it's so fast. It's really, as opposed to, like you said, scanning each book and waiting. It's just, boom, it sees them all, and you're out the door.
So a lot of it's the front of the store, but there's a good portion as well that's the back of the store. So a lot of the things people were showcasing as well is robots to handle your inventory in the back of the store. So autonomous robots to go and pick that item, to pack that item, to bring it to the front of the store, which I thought was so neat. That, hey,
and is that in practice now? Because I've seen that for a while. I mean, it's been in 5 years since I was looking at this, but it felt like it's kind of been out there. This robotics,
it's been out there. The robotics have been out there, but they're getting smarter and smarter and smarter with AI. Robotics infused with AI, they can continue to do more and more and more and more.
Yeah.
And it's pretty crazy, some of the things that I was seeing from that perspective, just the robotics,
even like I said, 4 or 5 years ago, it's amazing to look at that kind of philosophy of like thinking about supply chain and warehousing, where you've got, kitting, maybe a kitting package where you just get a thing rolls along, a robot moves, picks a piece of it, puts it in the box, and it moves along, it knows, and just, kind of keeps it, for those really rote activities. So even that, kind of smart robotic technology improved with AI is got to be, And
I'm trying to think of, I guess the last trend that I saw that is becoming bigger and bigger, not as big as AI and agents, is sustainability. A lot of, especially Gen X, Gen Zs are more concerned about what they buy. If it's, hey, the way it was purchased or the way it was, produced, was it in a sustainable manner, or retail operations meeting ethical expectations and sustainability. So we had a couple demo stations in our Microsoft booth that were solely around sustainability and how retailers can track their sustainability metrics. And I would say almost every booth at least had one demo station revolved around that. So.
You mentioned something earlier. It was funny that I forgot to go back to, but if you're watching like the Amazon Prime games this year for football,
the AI, the advanced AI analytics or whatever. The
analytics are off the charts. Yeah, that and the other commerce pieces, like now the commercials, like click to buy.
Oh yeah, exactly. The social selling.
So there's a commercial for some clothing or some food, whatever.
Scan the QR code to go to the product details page.
It's like, so it's this kind of immediate, like, hey, if you really love this, it's that easy. Just push your remote and or say, Alexa, buy this for me right now. But it was just interesting to see that evolution too of next level access to commerce.
It's pretty crazy, man. And those analytics are really cool. I'm a big fantasy football guy for just knowing, hey, who caught the pass? How many yards was it?
Right. Or I love the miles per hour. Like they will say, oh, that guy hit 22.3 miles per hour.
Tyreek Hill.
It makes me want to go out and run against a car to see how fast I am. It's like, that's the kind of idiot I am at 57. Like, yeah. Do you mind? No. My wife and I just to drive out. I want to see how fast I can run. You tell me how fast you're going.
It's crazy, man. We are truly in the age of AI, and it's been crazy over the last just 2 years. Really, ever since OpenAI came out with ChatGPT, how fast that it's exponential. Yeah, it just increased
0 to 200 like that. I mean, just in practical use too.
Yeah, and it's awesome. I use one of the greatest parts about working for Microsoft is they really push you to use AI every single day and everything. We have Copilot for the web. We have Copilot, in Teams. That's perhaps my favorite feature. And I think we discussed this before, but that's my absolute favorite feature is I don't even have to take notes anymore in meetings. Record the meeting, Copilot summary. I can go back and ask the AI assistant, hey, did they discuss this? I don't remember. Yes, they discussed it at the 37-minute mark. Blah, 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 blah. Here's what they discussed. It's just made my life so much easier where I'm not spending so much time on mundane tasks like writing emails or summarizing my notes, but I'm working more on an exception basis to really take that next best action quicker. Right?
It's amazing how long it takes people to. I mean, there's still so much fear. Like I've talked to friends here and there. It comes up, and somebody was talking about. Oh, I was in a meeting the other day, and this Otter.ai popped in. And I don't know what that was, but it was freaking me out. And I was like, it's a note taker. It's taking notes. Oh yeah, well, those things don't work. They're awful. I was like, no, actually, they're really good. I mean, they're pretty accurate. I mean, I've tested them. You've tested them. There's maybe a little nuances you might miss, but for the most part, they're really accurate and so much easier. Yeah, I'm a big notes guy, big recap guy, and this is so easy to recap a meeting or whatever.
They're never 100% right, but they're 97% there.
Yeah.
And
I mean,
and that's enough for me. And they take better notes. They summarize them better than I ever would.
That's the thing. It's like and you can always. That cool thing is that it's not like it's set in stone. If you want to change or change a bullet point, add a different nuance that didn't pick up, you can do that before you finalize them and send them out.
It's
so it's
all
really
about
just
your prompts, right?
Tooling it up there to get to where you want it. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, no, I'm using AI, and I've got now that Copilot's kind of integrated, like you said, it's in the web, it's in the applications, using it a lot. Yeah, I mean, I'm not afraid at all to jump in and use it for every anything, lots of things.
Yeah, and the best part about Microsoft is, hey, we've taken the Azure OpenAI models and we've put them under our security infrastructure. So
that's one thing we talk about a lot.
That is a big thing that all customers ask about. Something that every single AI advocate needs to have in their mind is, hey, what is the security principles behind this, and what drives responsible AI, and what are those principles? And
don't drop your company's NDA agreement into a Chat GPT.
Exactly.
It's like you think people are going to know this, but doing in Copilot, when it's internalized and it's the data is protected under the security umbrella.
Within a wall.
Yes, and it's within a wall. So now you've got
data, and any data that's being shared isn't being shared with others.
You bet. Now that's a great, again, something we get asked a lot. I hear a lot, and like when we have these AI discussions, or if I'm in a webinar, people ask like, "Is my data safe when I use Chat GPT or
Number one question that's coming out, and if you're equipped to answer those questions, then they're like, okay,
Yeah.
check the
Yep.
boxes for them. And
always point them to, there's some great, I mean, Microsoft has great resource around their AI responsibility policies and governance. So I was always able to point people, hey, just check this out. They've done a lot of work on
we have
making
our
sure
own
your data is
AI
protected.
principles that we follow, and
Yep.
those are widely accepted across the industry.
Yeah.
Awesome, man. No, I don't think we had anything else we didn't cover. I think, love what you're doing over there at Doug. I think community is such a big thing within the Microsoft ecosystem, and love everything you guys are doing as far as exchanging ideas, troubleshooting issues, sharing best practices. Whenever I go to a Dynamics user group meeting, I learn some things from partners that I thought I knew everything about or know a lot about commerce, or I know a decent amount about project operations, and we have the best tools to know about that at Microsoft. But my God, the partners partners are what makes Microsoft great and our ecosystem great.
And end users. I mean, it's amazing. When Brian Rouchet, when we brought our group back together in Colorado here, and Brian and a bunch of folks from the local office here in Denver showed up. And I heard that consistently, the new guys who had never been to a meeting, it's like, holy crap, I learned more about the software. These are less technical sales folks, more about the software than I have in the last month working at Microsoft.
It's amazing. Even some of the of the last Dynamics user group that I went to, I forgot the individual that was presenting in Dallas, but he had this amazing deck that he went over project operations. And obviously we streamline and create most of the decks that are out there that our partners use. And I was like, where did you get this? I created it. And I was like, oh my God, give me a copy of this thing.
That's awesome.
So just amazing, the partner ecosystem, and amazing what you guys have with these user groups, because it's not something I see with other ERP vendors, other CRM vendors. These user groups where people get together, they know each other, and they share these best insights and best practices.
Like I said, and the frequency and the breadth of it is pretty awesome. We didn't talk about Indiana making the championship, even though they got bounced early. That's pretty fun.
Making the playoffs, man. I know nobody ever expected Indiana to make a playoff run this year.
At the beginning of the year, that wasn't even a thought.
I knew Signetti was coming in, and that he had a big track record of wins, and that he worked under Nick Saban. And we were all like, oh, there could be something here. And we had a really light schedule, but to see win after win after win, he ignited a fire in IU football that I've never seen.
Yeah.
When I went to school, we didn't go to the IU football games. We went to the tailgate, and then we went home. So it's absolutely amazing to see what Signetti's done for IU.
I mean, for a town, it's awesome. I I didn't grow up in Colorado, so I didn't grow up a Colorado Buffaloes fan, but with Deion Sanders here
is doing.
I mean, the town's electric with excitement. It's just, it's fun to have a team that's winning and has something around it. It makes it more fun for the entire city.
Man. I know the NFL is trying to. I've been hearing rumors about, is he going to the Cowboys or what?
Yeah, he'd be down your way.
Down my way, but
heading home to Jerry Jones.
To your point, just the culture he's created there has been that's a very similar analogy there between what Deion Sanders has done for Colorado and what Netti's done for IU. So.
Yeah, that makes a big difference. I mean, look at even in the NFL. I grew up in Washington. I grew up a Washington football fan. Mm-hmm. There's that 20-year period where the ownership just sucked. And the culture was bad. And then 2 years later, after they switched owners, you've got a great ownership group, diverse. You've got a great coach in Dan Quinn, and an insane quarterback that is just playing lights out.
Nobody expected Jaden McDaniels to be as good as he is, and then, my God, man! If he could make a run for the Super Bowl, I don't know if you're like everybody else, but the Chiefs are the new Patriots. I don't want to see the three-peat. So.
I definitely don't want to see the three-peat. I'm not. I like the fact that they won a Super Bowl at some point. Again, I was fine with that first one.
They won freaking 3, so
but they don't need a three-peat. Definitely, I don't need to hear that.
Need shut them down.
I'd love to see the Bills, or obviously very selfishly the Washington Commanders.
I would anybody but the Chiefs at this point.
Anybody but the Chiefs. That should be a T-shirt. Anybody but the Chiefs.
It probably is our t-shirt.
I'm guessing if you go out on Etsy or somewhere, t-shirt bubble or Redbubble, whatever it is, you'll find it. Anybody but the Chiefs. If not, I'm going to put them up real quick.
Chiefs, some Chiefs fans are going to be mad watching this, but hey, all the penalties you guys get in your favor, man.
That's right. Yeah. You got. Yeah. Don't worry about it. You still have the referees. They're still on your side.
Yeah, exactly.
Cool, man. Well, I appreciate having you on. It's always a blast talking to you.
Absolutely.
Hope to see you in person again at some point here soon at one of these events.
And keep me updated on as you build that committee, any sort of engagement that you need from me.
Yeah, you bet. Yeah, it'll be coming out probably. I just was waiting to hear from a few people, and then I'll start scheduling some time to talk about kind of getting the pulse of what's going on in the community. I'm excited.
Absolutely, man. Thank you so much for having me. I love these podcasts, man. I do so many podcasts, and there's always so much prep that goes into it. For this, it's like, hey, here's an outline, just talk. And I always
we'll even stop in the middle, and you can have a quick break because my computer's going to die.
No worries, man.
Hey.
Great being here, man, and thanks again.
Yep, take care, bud.
Yep, thanks.
I remember I've got two daughters, and one of them was born in 1998, so she was probably 2 years old. We had a computer, but computers in 98 and 2000 were still like we're on Windows 98, 4 megs of RAM. But she wanted to be on the computer because she saw me on the computer, saw us on the computer. But she didn't really know how to mess with the mouse. But I remember fixing the mouse so she could left click and wouldn't right click and do actually do stuff. But she would just play screensaver games and things, but I could just picture in my mind her just sitting there, and you brought that back to me, just kind of just thinking of a little kid just kind of amazed by this technology.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I've been like that since I was little. So
were you a gamer online or
huge gamer? No? I've been I've been playing a lot.
Are you still a gamer?
Yeah, I am. I am. Yeah. I got my PC right next to me over here. So
right on.
No, I'm a huge gamer. Probably started out, playing Nintendo 64 and Sega Dreamcast and all of those when I was really, really little. And then I've always been an avid computer gamer too, playing games like RuneScape, World of Warcraft. I still play those games till this.
Yeah,
so, it's cool.
I had Atari 2600. It was I got like an 80, maybe 81 or so. Whenever it came out, my parents were usually pretty good about giving us the coolest stuff. So yeah, we like one cool gift a year. We didn't get a ton, but
I had that.
But I had that
had all this and was really into it. So it helped me get into it. But yeah, same thing with my childhood. My parents were pretty good about, hey, the latest and greatest consoles. That's what they love to do. So
I remember my brother got, my brother's actually a fair bit younger than me, and he got into video gaming, but that was at the time, like I said, more Sega was out.
Yeah,
I think he was running Nintendo, so he might have had the Nintendo series. I remember him playing, I got hooked on The Legend of Zelda.
Oh yeah,
once he got his console, I was trying to solve The Legend of Zelda.
That and Majora's Mask, those are still two of the best games ever created.
Yeah, it was a fun game, even though it was kind of 8-bit and the graphics weren't quite what they are now. It was still it was a fun, solid game. And he would beat the crap out of me in every sports game. We'd play football, whatever.
Boxing game, ready to run.
Boxing, yeah. But Mike Tyson's Punch Out, that was pretty wild. He would just beat me to no end on those, but because he was playing them all day and I was working for a living, so I didn't have time to do that.